My name is Raia Carey, and I'm from Toronto. I'm a life coach and motivational speaker, and I've been doing that for about 8 years now. And what I love most about it is helping people achieve their goals in really impactful ways, something that I always wish I had had when I was going through a lot of my life struggles. My relationship with my parents is actually pretty good. Me and my dad are like boys, and me and my mom are like sisters. Going to school was always a bit of a two-sided coin. I was always confident in who I am and how I am, but it still didn't change how some people would perceive me. That still would hurt. But I learned a lot of resiliency along the way, so constantly being the new kid and meeting new people and being the only person of color, the only fat kid, I definitely always stood out. I could never hide. I was constantly the person who would get in trouble, even if everyone next to me was doing the same thing. But at the same time, because that's what I was used to, I didn't recognize what that was doing to me and the impact that it would later have. I guess adversity is something that I face all the time, from when I was younger to now. I think one that always stands out to me was actually seeing my parents experience adversity, and just one time paying the bill at dinner when I was probably in about grade 10. This was back in the day before, probably a lot of you were born, when the machines were wireless, so they had to take your card and run it and then come back. And so when she came back, she told my dad that the card was declined and wondered if there was someone else I could help or if he had another visa. She tried it again, same thing, and so then he said, well, let me go see what's happening with you. And what it said was error. So because of her preconceived notions, her bias, or her unconscious bias, she decided to make the word error mean declined or insufficient funds, when the machine never once read decline or insufficient funds. It read error. And error could mean a number of things, like faulty internet, the card not working, the machine not working, but she never once considered that. And I was angry, and my dad paid the bill, and he over-tipped her, and he left, and he didn't say a word. And I said, why would we pay the bill? Why would we tip her? And that's when I really started to learn these lessons. And he said to me, there will be times where you will have to come from your higher self and take the higher road to prove them wrong. Had I acted that way, I would have become exactly what she expected me to be. And that's when I really started to think about how I show up, even met against adversity, plays a major role in how I want to be looked at as a leader and just who I am as a person. The time when someone said, you speak so well, after I just got off stage speaking in front of 3,000 people in a pretty prestige event, there was a moment where I took a deep breath and said, this could be a microaggression, but I'm going to choose to lead with love and call that person in and get curious. So rather than saying, why would you say that? I said, of course I speak well. So trying to literally use my own advice wherever possible. And the reason that can maybe feel like a microaggression to others, because it kind of goes under the assumption that based off the color of my skin, that I wouldn't speak English as good as you, or that that person assumes that the English they speak is the best English. I talk a lot about leading with love because I feel like that's a lot of what worked for me through all of the adversity and building that resiliency in school. And for me, lead with love really means you never know where someone's coming from, you never know what someone's going through, you never know what trauma someone's experiencing. So if you're able to pause for a moment and think about, okay, where is that person coming from? Why might they be doing this? Then you're able to show up to that situation a little bit more logically and with love and respect, which usually helps handle the situation in a much easier and respectful way. I don't think that there is enough diversity in the health and wellness industry. I think that a lot of the spaces are predominantly white, and I think that in itself can potentially hinder people of color from feeling wanted and accepted and like they belong in those spaces. And I think if we can work together to join communities and say, hey, anyone is welcome, I think, and obviously more work, I think that could really help, because again, I'm bringing it back to representation matters. If I'm constantly the only person of color in all of my fitness or yoga classes, then maybe I'm not gonna feel like I belong as much. In the next 5 years, I would like to see there be representation in all realms, so that the next generation can see themselves as leaders, teachers, doctors, athletes, trainers, doctors, lawyers, whatever they want to be. My weight loss journey has been quite the journey, and it really started when I was around 24, and I saw, my parents getting healthier, and I said, well, if they can do it, I can do it. Up until that point, I really didn't think about it that much. I was popular, I was having fun, I was throwing parties, I was in school. My life felt great. It didn't feel as though it hindered me so much. But I wanted to be healthy. So I decided, let me go to the doctor, let me see what's going on. And I did all the tests that I had been avoiding to do for years. And my doctor said, I'm shocked. You're completely healthy except for your BMI. So I decided at that time to take my health more seriously, and I started swimming every day. I started eating, every 2 hours. I started working out with a trainer, and I really started to make it a lifestyle change rather than just going to the gym. I still have some work to go, but at least I'm healthy and I feel a lot better. I'm motivated by being a leader for others, and I'm motivated by being my best self as often as I can and being better than I was yesterday.
Woo! Let's go. We're meditating at 10, sending love to everybody. I hope you all have a good weekend. Mwah, mwah, mwah. From my heart, let's do this. Woo!
First of all, Friday Feels is my Friday's meditation, and everybody should participate in it because I'm super high energy, but the one thing that helps me calm my energy, manage my emotions, manage when I'm hit with microaggressions is to pause and take a deep breath and connect with my thoughts, my core, my heart, my chest, and then I get to get back into whatever it was I was doing. I would say a lot of things to my younger self, depending on what stage of my life we're talking about. But I think the major message is you're on the right path and trust your intuition. I think that a lot of times so many people wanted to tell me I was doing things the wrong way or not going to do this or schooling and this, and everyone thought it was so bad that I was throwing parties and I could never make a career out of it. But you know what? I literally navigated and carved my own path in every single industry I've touched, and now I'm at the top of my game, being successful in my 30s because I stayed true to myself. And that was work, and it was tough, and there were times where I'd cry myself to sleep, but it all worked out, and I think that's one of the biggest takeaways I have for sure. If someone is facing their own adversity now, I would just tell them to take a pause and honor themselves, perhaps getting into the gym or meditation or whatever works for them to kind of get some energy out. And then I would come back to the drawing board and really get aligned and clear on what your values are. Because if you're facing adversity from family or work, etc., getting clear on your values are going to help anyone figure out how to best handle whatever situation is at hand. One of the biggest lessons I've learned is that how people feel about themselves is not up to you. We can't be an authority on how someone else feels. We all have our own work to do, and that puts more pressure on us. But what we can do is still treat people with love and respect to ensure that they can tap into that on their own.